And what a day that was. Morgan Whittaker's final goal for Argyle was maybe one of his most iconic, and it meant that today we have the chance to do something rather special. A game against the 8-time winners of the FA Cup, Liverpool. 42 places separate Liverpool, top of the Premier League, and Argyle, bottom of the Championship. The Reds have been champions of England 19 times, Europe 6 times, and have won this competition on 8 occasions. However, this is the FA Cup, and magical things can happen in this competition. Hello, good afternoon and welcome. I'm Erin Black, and what an afternoon of Emirates FA Cup action we've got in store for you today. It is the 4th round of the Cup here at Home Park, and it's the biggest possible draw Argyle could have asked for. One of the giants of world football are in town today, and we've got it all for you here on Argyle TV. Due to the competition regulations, we can only bring you audio commentary of the game, and you have to be a subscriber to be able to listen. However, we do have a full hour of build-up live here for you on Argyle TV, and we're going to be bringing you a great host of guests as well to join us. We will have Argyle legends David Norris and Tommy Tynan to come. But first, let me introduce you to some well-known Argyle legends that you will have seen on Argyle TV before, none other than Katie Middleton and Ian Stonebridge. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Lovely day for it.
Yeah, apologies if I'm squinting. The sun's slightly annoying up there, but yeah, lovely blue skies for ready for a cup upset today.
Yeah, and you know, slightly away from our usual position down on the pitch. We're up on the roof of the Players' Tunnel at the minute with a fantastic view out over Home Park, which is a sellout this afternoon. So I think we've got some of the best seats in the house.
Yeah, it's great from up here. It's the first time I've been up here actually, and yeah, we've got a fantastic view over the pitch and can see everything that's going on down below us with some of the interviews and stuff happening before the game. So yeah, all very exciting today.
Yeah, I mean, when you saw the draw announced, Ian, that we were going to be taking on Liverpool here at Home Park, I mean, what were you thinking?
Yeah, there's no better draw really at the moment, is there? With them top of the Premier League, they're obviously the team to beat, and it's a brilliant occasion. I think people talking about it, kind of, it's a nice diversion from the league. I think the manager though will want to kind of maintain the levels of performance, and you know, like as you say, it's the cup, anything can happen. Yeah,
and Katie, we've got to touch on it right at the start of the show. Of course, former Argyle player, but a Liverpool fan. So this is a perfect combo for you, really.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of win-win today, isn't it? One of my two teams goes through. I'm definitely a green at heart today, though, so we'll be cheering on the Greens for sure.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. I think this is certainly one of the big games. Of course, Liverpool have been here before, back in 2017. Aside from that one, I mean, Ian, have you got any FA Cup memories that stand out for you in your memory?
I think the first season I was down here as a player was probably the best year I had. So I think we got through. Bear in mind we were League 2, Division 3 as it was then. Yeah. I think we got through to the 4th round, so we had a good win away at Brentford, although they weren't in the Premier League back then. And then I think we took Reading to a replay and beat them. And then I think it was Preston in the 4th round that came in and kind of taught us a bit of a lesson here at Home Park. But no, that was probably the best year where we beat some teams from the higher league, and yeah, they were great occasions as well.
What is the feeling like as a player when you go into the FA Cup and you get put up against teams that arguably you wouldn't necessarily play in any other circumstances?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think as a player you want to test yourself against players at a higher level, and whether it pans out that way in your career or not, you always have ambitions to play at that higher level as well, I think. So the FA Cup obviously offers the opportunity to do that sometimes, and yeah, when you get a draw, I mean, never had one as good as this. So yeah, fantastic for the players at Argyle today.
Yeah, I mean, Katie, we know that Argyle aren't in the best position in the league, as we said at the top of the programme. I think 42 places separating them and top of the Premiership, Liverpool. But do you feel like the pressure is off a little bit today, because no one is expecting Argyle, really to come out and do anything crazy? So it's almost like this is something everyone can just sit back and enjoy.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing, particularly for the players today. It's about them coming out and enjoying the occasion. Like Ian said, an opportunity that a lot of players will never get again in their career. So I think you look at the Brentford game, no one expected us to go there and get anything from the game at all. brilliant home record against a terrible away record, and we go and win 1-0. So, things can happen, and the history of this cup has proved that time and time again. So, who knows what might happen today.
Yeah, it's true. When you factor in the Brentford game, this is a bit of an unexpected bonus. So we're just got to roll with it. Let's see, though, the team that has been put together to take on the mighty Liverpool this afternoon. Your starting 11 is shaping up a little bit like this. Connor Hazard, Maxim Talavierov, Nikola Katic, Julio Pleguezuelo, Matti Sorinola, Adam Randall, Darko Jaby, Timoteus Puach, Ryan Hardy, Callum Wright and Mustafa Bundu. And on the bench we've got Grimshaw, Mumba, Houghton, Obafemi, Boateng, Tijani, Al-Haj, Beidou and Paulson. Katie, when you look at that lineup, that is probably, a more regular Argyle lineup that we're starting to see with the new additions, the new signings, and they're going to be coming up against some hopefully big names. We'll see in a minute.
Yeah, I think it's a really good occasion for the players that have been selected. I think probably one of the main ones that jumps out at you is Callum Wright, who's obviously from Liverpool as a boyhood Liverpool fan. So he'll be living his dream today of playing against some of the top players in the Premier League. Argyle have started to get a little bit of consistency, and I think that's benefited them. Obviously, the two new boys came in last weekend and did really well. They keep their places today. So, an opportunity to keep building a little bit of momentum, albeit against a very challenging side.
Yeah, and having seen the formation there on the screen, Ian, is that kind of what you expected going into today? Yeah,
I think so. As you said, they were more solid in that last game. Talavierov and Katic in at the back there. Their defending was a joy to see, wasn't it? Yeah. I think celebrating the tackles and celebrating that defending. Why not? As a striker, we get to score sometimes, not very often, but sometimes you get to celebrate that. So I think how much they showed they cared, and I think Katic's no-nonsense clearances, it felt like whatever way he was facing, that was where the ball was going. But I think Argyle have missed that willingness to kind of just get rid of the ball and get it properly out of a danger area. So they were really impressive, and I think they'll be a key part of today's performance. Yeah, I mean, seeing how Talavierov celebrated doing some of those tackles last week, it will be interesting to see whether he takes it up a notch performing them against some of the Liverpool team. Yeah, I think you've got to be able to sustain it, haven't you? So if you start celebrating those tackles, you've got to keep putting them in across the 90 minutes, and I'm sure he can. And as I say, I think it was a point of difference, wasn't it? We've maybe not seen that here at Home Park for a few years, and it was fantastic and a great result at the end of it as well. Yeah, Katie, Ryan Hardy as well, coming into this game, fresh off of scoring 2 recently. That, after maybe a bit of a goal drought, hopefully will have buoyed his spirits, and he may be feeling confident in the context of the game.
Yeah, and I actually really liked what he did when he came on last weekend. He played that slightly deeper role in the 10 role, which we probably haven't seen him play as much. But I think he gives you that extra little bit of energy, and he'll make those runs in behind the striker. Obviously, it's Bundu today. So, Bundu can play as a bit of a target man and allow Ryan to run off him. And hopefully, we can create a few opportunities for him today. The second goal was a really confident finish for someone who hasn't scored many goals so far this season. So, he'll be buoyed by that, obviously off the back of the penalty as well. So, good to see him back and firing again, and hopefully we see another performance similar to that today. Yeah, and Ian, we've got to touch on Adam Randall. I mean, a staple of the squad, staple of the club. You know him. Wearing the captain's armband today, going out playing against Liverpool, that must be a really big thing for him. Yeah, he'll absolutely love that. As he loves every game he plays for the team. He obviously came through the academy, cares so much about the club, and the fact that he's been given that responsibility to lead the team on the pitch, he'll absolutely relish that. And again, he's someone who has that desire to play at a higher level. I'm sure he'd love to do that with Argyle at some point, but he'll be ambitious. He'll be desperate to put in a really good performance today and test himself against these Liverpool players. Yeah, it's certainly a very exciting afternoon we've got in store. Let's have a look then at Liverpool. Of course, they're competing on 4 fronts this season. They've already made it to a Wembley final, so no surprises that there's a few changes in their lineup. Kelleher, Gomez, Endo, Kwanzaa, Tsimikas, McConnell, Nioni, Chiesa on the list for you there, Elliott, Diaz and Jota. And their subs bench is made up of some other names. You've got Jaros, Nunes, Jones,
Kone Doherty, Mabaya, Nallo, Ngmoha, Norris and Young. Trying to squint to read some of those names there. Katie, I think we better go to you as the resident Liverpool fan. I mean, is it kind of what you expected, knowing Liverpool are kind of competing in a variety of different compositions on all fronts at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, they had a big game on Thursday night, semi-final, and they play again in a couple of days against Everton. So there was always going to be a raft of changes today. But, you know, I think for them it gives some of those fringe players an opportunity to come and show what they can do. Obviously, the bench is made up of a lot of youngsters who've been doing good things in like the under-18 side. So, but, you know, there's a whole raft of talent that's in that starting 11 that could cause us problems today.
Yeah, and of course, you know, yes, they've put in a selection of youngsters in the squad there, which, you know, you may think, OK, Argyle could give that a bit of a go. But, of course, just because they're youngsters, they are still in the Liverpool squad. So there is going to be a real amount of quality there.
Yeah, I mean, you look at someone like Ngmoha, who actually started in the Accrington Stanley game, is a really lively youngster who likes to get at players and take people on. So, you know, there's danger from the bench, and yes, they're young, but, you know, sometimes those players are fearless, and, you know, on an occasion like this, they'll come out and just play football like they would if they were down the park with their mates. So, yeah, there's, like I say, there's a lot of danger both on the pitch and potentially to come off the bench.
Yeah, and Ian, when you look at the squad they've selected, of course, there are, you know, a couple of more well-known names in there. Of the squad, are there any ones in particular that you're looking forward to seeing take to the pitch here at Home Park?
Well, yeah, I think you can see some international experience in there. So Chiesa, Jota, Diaz, you'd love seeing those sorts of players in the flesh. You know, Chiesa's experienced Italy international. And you know, to have him at Home Park again, a great test for our players, but you know, a challenge for him. His Liverpool career hasn't really taken off yet. He'll be looking to make the most of an opportunity that he's got to put in a good performance today.
Yeah, I mean, there are of course some names that we're missing. I mean, Katie, it might be more prevalent for you as the Liverpool, you know, like no Alexander-Arnold, things like that. It's, you know, it's a bit sad, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I wondered if they'd bring them down and maybe sit them on the bench, but like I say, they've got so many competitions going on at the moment that I think, you know, squad rotation is really important. Probably something that you know, Miron Music would love to have at his disposal is that, you know, array of talent that they can chop and change the squad around. Unfortunately, we don't quite have that here at the moment, but, you know, we're starting to build a squad here that can compete in the Championship, and you know, you've got to accept the fact that the Liverpool weren't necessarily going to bring their starting 11 to us today. Yeah,
see Mo Salah down here for a little holiday in Devon, something like that might have been nice for him, but not the case. We know they are competing in, well, they're top of the Premier League. They're competing in a variety of other cups as well. What is it about Arne Slot and what he's done for Liverpool this season, Ian, that you think is really working for them?
Well, I think it's almost the continuity, if you like, of Klopp's legacy, taking over a team where, you know, often when a new manager comes in, it's because the team's not doing so well, or there's been some regime change for some other reason. But the fact that Klopp kind of left of his own accord and not through, you know, the team being in desperate trouble or anything like that, it just makes I think a job even harder, which also makes what Slot's come in and done even more impressive. You know, to really hit the ground running. I don't necessarily think that there were many people that expected Liverpool to be the team that were setting the pace in the Premier League this season, but that's what they're certainly doing, and yeah, it's credit to the manager for that.
Yeah, well, I suppose if you drill down to living in the moment, Argyle currently are the team that stand in the way of them maybe completing a full set of silverware as it stands, Katie. I mean, not great for you, but then if Argyle are the team to stop you, it's a quadruple, isn't it, what you're on for this?
I mean, Liverpool is certainly still on for the quadruple, so like I say, it's kind of win-win today. You know, I'll obviously be disappointed if sort of Liverpool get knocked out because I want them to do well, but, you know, like I said, my heart is certainly green today, and, you know, if we can cause an upset, then, you know, so be it, and, you know, it'll be a fantastic occasion no matter what happens with the game today. Yeah,
you always come up with the right answer.
So diplomatic.
My heart is green. Going back, Ian, to Talavierov and Katic, of course, coming in last weekend against West Brom, and you said, you know, you're impressed with them. I think of the Argyle squad, they are among the section of players that are probably going to be most challenged this afternoon, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's the step up to the Premier League is a huge one, and the quality, the pace, the physical capabilities of those players, you know, aside from their technical ability, is you know, it's a step up, and that's the real challenge, I think. The level of concentration that's required right across the whole game, and you know, it's in a split second they can be away from you and around you, passing combinations, dribbling moves, and so on. So absolutely, they'll need to be, you know, on it as they were in the last game, but it really is a new challenge. It's that step above, which again they'll be desperate to prove themselves. You know?
Yeah, and I mean, having both of you as players at opposite ends of the pitch when you were playing, Katie, of course, defensively. You know, when you're looking at going up against Liverpool, for example, if you were playing defensively in this team, it's a heavy burden.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of pressure on, and you know, the players will want to perform. I think that's the key thing. You know, Liverpool are going to have a lot of the ball today. We know that will happen. It's how we kind of manage those situations as well as we can. It's about staying compact. Like Ian said, they will create those combinations and those overloads in a variety of different areas of the pitch. So it's about trying to manage that, but about the players trying to just go out there and, you know, perform to the best of their abilities. And then, like we say, who knows what might happen.
Yeah. God, imagine if it went our way right straight off the bat. I don't think Home Park will have seen scenes like it for a while. This fixture, of course, will bring back memories from the 2 ties Argyle had against Liverpool 8 years ago. 2017 was 8 years. Oh, time flies, doesn't it? A League 2 side, Argyle, then, of course. They had the trip to Anfield to look forward to, as Luke McCormick, David Fox and Jake Jervis remember.
Did you truthfully believe you could win?
No. I remember sort of talking with Foxy and that about it a little bit on the way to the game and stuff, and just being like, just got to stay in the game. The longer you stay in the game, the more chance you've got of, I don't know, getting a draw, or at least, you know, getting a goal.
We've gone away from home at times in League 2 even, and sometimes you have to sit back and soak up. We probably did the same at Newport at times. We had to sit back, soak things up. Sonny Bradley, Jan Song, you know, these are lads that would, you know, defend for the life. They'd head everything and clear everything and block shots and block tackles, and you had legs around you and you had people on the counter. You know, it was a well-built team, I thought, that one.
It was just about, I think, being a solid unit. But that's what we were under Derek.
We were quite good at that. We'd go to teams in League 2, and if we had to play like that, we would. I think we were very result-driven at that point, and whatever it needed to do to get results, we would do.
Firstly, the team sheet came out and they'd gone quite young, and there was quite a lot made of how young they'd actually gone. But that was something that quite pleased us, because, you know, there were a few names on there that we hadn't really heard of. So, you know, we thought, oh, we'll take that. Of course, there were a few that we certainly had heard of.
You speak about sort of the names at the time, maybe they weren't quite what they were, but they're still Liverpool. They're still athletically better than us. They're still faster. They're still stronger. That's why they play at the level they play at, because they're very, very athletic and fast players. I remember You'll Never Walk Alone, and they sing that at the start, and that is one of the best, one of the sort of the most goosebump period. I don't know that word. Just the hairs on the back of your neck stand up when that happens.
It was a weird feeling listening to You'll Never Walk Alone as well on the pitch. It was an emotional feeling for some reason. I'm a Man United fan as well, so it shouldn't be, but it was it was a weird feeling to experience that on the pitch. And yeah, you definitely can understand why the Champions League nights there are so special and different things, because it does bring a whole lot of feelings towards the forefront. Definitely.
I was captain at the time, so I actually won the toss and decided not to turn them around, which is something like you usually do, especially when you're playing away from home. You turn the team away from the favourite end to shoot.
Why did you choose not to do it?
I think there was 2 reasons. Partly it was almost out of respect for Liverpool that I didn't want to do that. But there was another reason, I think, which was probably more important, which was the fact that if we stayed as we were, and that meant Liverpool kicking into the coppin in the second half, it meant that we had our fans behind us for the first half, and I just thought we didn't need an ambush within the first 45 minutes, and maybe with all the play coming towards us, that it might help to have the Green Army behind us.
Well, I can remember it was backs against the wall for large parts. It was trying to deal with their players, which we did quite well. We did well, just defensively, just staying strong, working together. Had our little moments when we had the ball.
Just remember how quick the game was. That's all I remember, just how quick the game seemed to be played at. The pace of their players, the strength, and just how we seemed to just keep going backwards and backwards. But we stayed in the game. We just hung in there. We were pretty resolute.
I think they got in a few times down our left-hand side. They gave us a few problems down there. But all in all, we were able to sort of park the bus in a sense and sort of take the sting out of the game a little bit.
In my head, I've got an image of 11 of us stood in our own box, just sort of defending. But I don't think it was as extreme as that. But no, we just sort of did what we did. We held our shape well. We were competitive. We could compete. We had players that could head it. We had players that could defend, and we all stuck together. And that's it. I remember, I think it was Jake on the break, maybe.
My semi-chance in the game as well. I went round past, ran around him, fired the ball across the box, semi-shot cross kind of thing.
I remember Sturridge had a shot that I was right behind that went wide, and it just missed the post by inches. I just thought, what a finish that was. But fortunately for us, it went the other side of the post, and yeah, in the end, we saw it out.
I was a little bit surprised about, how little I had to do probably on the day.
They had to. I think, I'd say it was a big compliment to us that they wanted to bring the big hitters on. They had to bring them on, and the manager was frustrated that he had to go for a replay down in Plymouth.
You can watch the full version of that over on Argyle TV right now, but maybe save it for later, because I think it's going to be quite a busy afternoon we've got coming up for you, but certainly some great memories from that tie back in 2017. Right now, though, of course, you are watching the pre-match show from Matchday Live with us here on Argyle TV for Liverpool's second visit down to Home Park. We are building up to this afternoon's Emirates FA Cup fourth round tie. And coming up after this, we're going to be joined by former Argyle midfielder David Norris. Hello, good afternoon, and what an occasion we've got for you here at Home Park today. We're just over half an hour away from kick-off in the fourth round of the FA Cup, with Liverpool our visitors. Now, the last time that Argyle got past this round was back in 2007. That year, they made it all the way to the quarter-finals before they were knocked out by Premier League side Watford. One of the members of that squad joins Ian and me now, so very warm welcome to David Norris. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Lovely to have you with us. Fond memories of your FA Cup experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was a great run for us. I mean, the whole build up that week, we had lots more press attention, so it was unusual for a lot of us to have that much spotlight on us. But it was enjoyable. Like, we really thrived on it and enjoyed it. And even down to the game itself, I think we were very unlucky. I think we held our own. I think we lost 1-0 in the end, and we had our own chances as well. But the overall experience, the fact that we're still talking about it now, it was a good time.
Yeah, because I think, when people talk about that one in particular, it feels like one of the ones we should have won, could have won.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we had so many chances, half chances. I think there's a picture of me sliding on the floor where I've gone to go around the keeper, took it too far, missed, and you think that's one of the chances that you need to go your way against the bigger teams. And we had a few of them, and conceded a bit of a sloppy goal, and that was that. So it did feel a bit like that, but I think, you can look back and think, we got to the quarter-final of the FA Cup against a top side, and we held our own.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking to Ian earlier about, his experiences playing in the FA Cup. I mean, what does it feel like for you as a player when you get, drawn up against a Premier League side, for example, especially, depending on where Argyle are in their own respective league?
Yeah, it's a buzz. It's a buzz. I think, I mean, I grew up with the FA Cup, so I think it's changing a little bit now, but it was always a huge tournament. And then going into playing, you're watching the draw, you're hoping, normally you are hoping for a big team. You're not really too fussed about progressing, you just want a big team, especially when you're in the lower leagues. And so, yeah, when you get a big draw, it's a buzz, and then it's about still playing well but not getting injured in the games up to it, which you got to try and manage as well, and be in form, and then just enjoying that game. But it's always nice as a player, especially if you're not in that top league, to be joined against a big team.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some pictures on the screen for everyone watching at home there of some of the moments. I mean, what was it like looking back at those?
Yeah, I love watching myself back. Yeah, I'm one of them guys. Yeah, so I enjoy it. But yeah, seeing me score goals and the celebrations and the fans and with the boys. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's same for you, Ian. Do you like watching yourself back scoring or not?
Yeah, scoring, yeah. Those bits, yeah. There's not that many clips, Erin, but yeah, there we are. Yeah.
I was really trying to do you a favour with you, Ian. David, you know, like, when you think about some of your other memories at Argyle, outside of the FA Cup, you know, in general, you are, you know, a big name associated with the club. Have you got any particular memories of your time here that you hold, you know, quite close to your heart?
Yeah, the obvious one of the QPR game, I think will always be that season. To be honest, we had some right ups and downs all the way through it with losing Sturrock and felt like we were blowing it towards the end, and then to come through and do what we did on that day and that game. So that game will always be one that'll stick out massively, and everything that followed it, just realising just how much it meant to the people, how big it actually was, winning the league, getting promoted. So that will always be. There'll be some individual games when I've scored, or we've got big wins. Swindon away was a big one that sticks in the mind. Marino scoring a last minute after we blew a 2-goal lead. So there's a handful of games, but overall, my whole time here, to be honest, it just got better and better.
Yeah. And of course, I guess some of that must be to do with the people that you're in the squad with, like Ian here, for example.
A little bit, yeah.
Because of course I'm calling you David, but Ian, you of course refer as Chuck. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, you know, you can see the camaraderie, the friendship that you build. I mean, what's it like now, you know, you're both out of the game, still being able to maintain these kind of friendships?
Yeah, I think we had the reunion, didn't we, earlier this year, and it was fantastic, you know, and it's a bit of a cliche, I think, but it's like you've never been apart. It really is. And I think football's so intense, particularly down here, where, you know, the coach journey to those away games, spend a lot of time together. I think me and Chuck roomed together actually that last season. So lots of times where you're in each other's pockets the whole time. If you don't get on then it could be a problem. But I think we all got on really, really well, and that showed on the pitch as well, you know.
Yeah, I think that was it. I think being down here, there is only you're down here and you've only got each other, and I think that brings a real team spirit. And I think under Sturrock especially, he really pushed that and fostered that. We had nights out together, which was encouraged, and we really bonded well, like you said, the long journeys, and it made us, because individually we weren't the best players in that league, but as a team we were.
Yeah, and of course, you know, you mentioned the manager there from your era. A new era kind of beckons with Miron Muslic. I mean, what have you made of his appointment and, you know, his style in the games that we've seen of him so far?
I was impressed, especially the initial speech was huge. I mean, I was thinking I'd run through a brick wall for this guy, and I thought if he can back this up with his managerial skills, with the words he's saying here, I'd love to play for him, and I think he'll get a real lift out of the players. And he's got a couple of really good results, because you finish the Burnley, and even I was, right, I can relax a bit, we're down, let's just accept it and move on. And now we've been sucked back in, the heartstrings are going again, we've got a chance now, and he's changed it within 2 games. So I've been impressed so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you say that, like, if you were a player and he delivered that kind of speech to you in the dressing room, you would kind of ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly when I watched it. Even though I'm not even playing, I'll be like, I'll play for this guy. I'm loving that.
Son right now, I'll be there on Saturday.
Yeah,
it's certainly impressive. And finally, before we let you go, how are you thinking today might go? Because, you know, it's the FA Cup. You don't know what's going to happen.
No, and it's a free hit. You know, when we used to play the bigger teams, it's just get in their face, be horrible, make it horrible. They don't really want to be here. They just want to get the result and get off. And the team is a mix, so they've got every chance. It's a one-off game. Having seen the team, having been at home, with this crowd behind them, there's every chance.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a good one. Chuck, thank you very much for coming on. And today is going to be special for a number of Argyle players, of course, but especially for Callum Wright. The midfielder grew up in Liverpool as a huge fan, idolising the legend Steven Gerrard. So when the draw was made, there was no hiding his excitement.
Liverpool kits, every day growing up, like every different one. Every kit, like, but mainly Liverpool kits. Like, I used to run around saying I'm Steven Gerrard. Just what kids do. Yeah, a few times. Obviously from the same estate. Obviously I've met him a few times. One of my old good friends was his cousin, like first cousin. So my mate's mum was his auntie. So yeah, I met him a few times when I was younger, and then obviously walked out with him and Champions League semi-final, I think that was. I was starstruck when I was younger. Every time I seen him, even if it was twice a week, whenever it was, I was starstruck to see him every time. Unbelievable, like said, like obviously you used to go to the game and you know of the Anfield atmosphere, especially Champions League nights. And at this time, I think this was a couple of years after we won it. So obviously Liverpool weren't the best team at the time in the league and stuff like that, but it's always competitive in the Champions League when you were in it. And just walking out and actually being in the middle of the Raw and you'll never walk alone was frightening.
You're in a Chelsea kit though?
You have to, so when you get the option, it was like you have to either go. And then obviously, because I knew like Gerrard or knew of Gerrard, he came out and said, come on, you're with me, took me to the front.
Wow. So
I was amazed, like, but even then, I was still starstruck to see him. I was on the train and I was watching the draw and I knew the draw before it happened because everyone was messaging me. And I was like, surely not, surely not. I couldn't believe it until I actually seen it.
But what was it like to actually see it?
It was like, wow. Wow, like it's obviously a dream come true. And hopefully I can get out there on the day. It's a dream come true, like obviously playing professional football every week, every day is a dream come true, but to play against Liverpool is like something you can only ever imagine. Like. It'd be for the whole family, it'd be something everyone's only ever dreamt of, like to play against Liverpool or to be involved in a fixture in what you've dreamed of as a kid. To be involved in a fixture against Liverpool is like everyone would have always thought, like, is this possible? Is it possible? Like, is he going to play against them? Will he play for them? Like, whatever it is, and yeah, wow.
If you score,
I'll go crazy. I'll go crazy. Yeah, obviously I'm a Liverpool fan, but I'm playing for Argyle and I support myself more than them. Like, yeah, I'm a Liverpool fan, but I'd love to knock them out on the day and score.
Well, the competition quite often brings up stories like that, and what a moment it will be for Callum and his family later on when he's out on the pitch against the side he grew up supporting. Ian, you were saying before you are an Arsenal fan, outside of Argyle, of course. You played them when you were at youth level? What's that like? And have you ever had any situations where you've actively been playing and you've gone up against, someone else that you admired or, you knew you followed?
Yeah, I think the team thing, it's always, even at a young age, it's already drummed into you. Although I was playing for Spurs as an Arsenal fan, there were plenty of other Arsenal fans in our Spurs youth team as well. It's a derby anyway, so you didn't need telling that this was really important. So never found it an issue, being competitive or as soon as you're on the pitch you forget about it. It was extra special to do it. You kind of, again, you want to prove yourself against the best other players at that point, and Arsenal were obviously our arch rivals as well. So yeah, it was fantastic. I think that was as a 13-year-old, something like that. So unfortunately never got to do it at senior level, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean certainly, a little bit of bragging rights. Callum Wright spoke about saying he would celebrate if he scored. That's one of those ones where you kind of got to push down the excitement that you're playing against Liverpool, but then, like you said, if he managed to put one past them, Katie, it would be probably an unparalleled emotion for him.
Yeah, it's just about enjoying every moment, isn't it? And like we said, you may potentially never get the opportunity again to play against some of your idols. So, go out there, enjoy it. If you score, milk it, make the most of it as much as you possibly can, and I would say just enjoy the game and the occasion as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, he's not scored since the season we got promoted, so he's going to want to rectify that. And I imagine if there was ever going to be a day to do it, today could be the day.
Yeah, definitely. Law of averages, you know, there'll be chances at some point for Argyle, I'm sure. So it only takes one of them to go in, doesn't it? And yeah, hopefully for Callum, it's him that gets a chance. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen his energy. Kind of his energy is one of his skills on the pitch, and I think you could probably dial that up tenfold if you're going against your childhood team.
Yeah, I think that's what he brings to the side, is that energy, the willingness to maybe put in the hard yards, some things that sometimes go unnoticed maybe by some of the fans, but yeah, he's going to go out there today. He'll be absolutely buzzing, and you know, I'm sure first 10-15 minutes he'll be all over the place trying to kind of make his mark on the game as much as possible. So you know, as will the rest of the players, they'll all be really looking forward to it. So you know, let's see what happens when the game starts.
Yeah, we'll just have to hope the cameras can keep up tracking them around the pitch later on. We've still got a lot to come here on Argyle TV before kick-off though, and in a moment we're going to be joined by another Argyle legend who also has a Liverpool link. Tommy Tynan will be with us next. Welcome back to the Argyle TV pre-match show here on Matchday Live. We are at Home Park, building up to the FA Cup 4th round kickoff against Liverpool. And you'll see there's been a little juggle around here. Joining myself and Katie on the roof of the changing rooms is none other than prolific striker Tommy Tynan. Thank you for joining us. I imagine you're having quite a busy day today.
Just a little bit, yes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, what's it been like coming here, soaking up some of the atmosphere that you've experienced already?
Oh, it's been absolutely fantastic. There's people here that we haven't seen for years, and we're all here saying hello. I mean, the big thing is, what's the prediction you don't know, do you?
No.
For me, if it's a draw and penalties, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, because I mean, getting rid of the redraw where you just got to do the whole game to the bitter end with the penalties, it certainly does add an extra element of drama to it.
It does, but I prefer the other way, especially for the lower clubs. Where you get a replay, especially when you go to Liverpool.
Yeah.
The money side of it is fantastic, isn't it?
100%.
You come here. They've got a weak inside, and I'm not being disrespectful, but they've got multi-million-pound players that can come off the bench and whatever. So a draw for me would be a great result.
Yeah, it may well happen. It is the FA Cup. You just don't know.
One other thing.
Yeah.
There's no shocks this round, is there? No small teams has beaten big teams.
No, not yet.
That's exactly right.
Oh, here we go. Put it out into the universe.
Yeah.
Going back to Liverpool then, just remind everyone of your Liverpool links.
Well, I signed for Liverpool through Bill Shankly. I was there for 4.5 years. I played for the reserves. Got the U Cup final. I was leading goal scorer for the reserves for 3 seasons on the trot. But I came back from America, and do you want to stay in the reserves for 6, 7, 8 years? My answer was no, so that's why I decided to leave Liverpool.
Yeah, and of course when you had your time at Argyle, you were part of that particularly famous 1984 FA Cup run, which went to the semi-finals.
Yeah.
Again, we've had yourself, we've had David Norris, we've got Ian, all part of, big FA Cup challenges. How was that for you, being part of that team?
Oh, it was fantastic. And the other thing is, when you have a good cup run, because we were struggling in the league, and it helps the league form as well, because you get a lot more confidence. I mean, we beat Derby. We beat West Brom. They were what would be Premiership sides now.
Yeah.
And to do that is one other thing. And today, Plymouth shouldn't be any scared of Liverpool, because they went to Brentford, and for me, that's the best performance I've seen all year.
Yeah.
And if they can replicate that, then they've got a chance.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying earlier, Katie, this feels like a bit of a bonus, considering what everyone was expecting to come out of Brentford. It's kind of all lined up nicely just for Argyle to have a nice day out.
Yeah, it's a free hit, isn't it? Chuck said it just now, but the pressure's off, the pressures of the continuously trying to fight at the bottom of the Championship is hard. And today it just gives those fans a little bit of a lift, and we've taken a couple of good results, and hopefully we can keep momentum going today. Regardless of what happens, if the performance is half decent, then it stands us in good stead for the rest of the season.
Yeah. I mean, having seen some of the other FA Cup matches that have happened over the weekend, there have been some good goals. Maybe, like you said, the fixtures haven't gone in the way of the underdog, but there certainly has been little shake-ups here and there.
Yes, I mean, I watched Leighton Orient yesterday, and it should have been a draw. The lad had a great chance right at the death, which he put over the bar. It could have been 2-2. Man United, the second goal, if it was VAR, it's offside. So this all comes into the mix, doesn't it? So you just don't know what's going to happen today.
And of course, Miron Muslic has only recently taken over the club, coming over from Europe. This is kind of possibly, the pinnacle of fixtures that you could take on at a very early part of your Argyle career.
Well, yes, it is. I listened to him on the television. He's a very, very passionate man, isn't he, about how the team should play, what professional footballers are about. Yes, I mean, I put it this way. Would you rather beat Argyle? Would you rather beat Liverpool or stay up? The answer is stay up.
Yes.
And I think that's the way he's going.
Yeah.
So this is the cream, isn't it, today? Just enjoy it. Whatever the result, the fans will love it, we'll all love it, no matter what the result is.
Yeah, I mean, you're predicting a draw, but of course it can...
I'm not predicting a draw, I'm saying it would be a great result for me.
Yes, of course, until the final ebbs if we get to penalties.
Yeah.
And then that'll be an interesting one to see.
Oh, yeah. When it comes down to penalties, as well, anyone can win, can't
Anybody, yeah. Anyone's game.
Two things, taking a penalty and the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
If you go right, if you go wrong, anything can happen. Penalties, for me, it'll be a great result.
I mean, surely that, is a particularly nerve-wracking experience as a player to step up to the spot.
Without a doubt, I mean, and the worst thing in the world, if you go and you're 4-4 and you need to win the penalty to go through and you miss it, how can you get away from that? Unbelievable.
Well, hopefully it doesn't happen today. Tommy, I imagine you're a very busy man this afternoon, so thank you very much for stopping by.
It's been a pleasure.
And I hope you enjoy the game and it goes the right way.
Green off, red off.
I see, very nice, very nice. Right, we are now just over 15 minutes away from kickoff, so we better hear from their head coaches. Let's start with our boss first, Miron Muslic, who spoke to Rob McNichol about how he's preparing to take on a side like Liverpool.
Going into Sunday, is it difficult for you and your coaching staff to know what team to prepare for? Because obviously Liverpool are playing tonight as we speak on a Thursday, and then they've got a game next week, so they may well rotate. It's difficult to know what kind of team they'll put out. Is that a challenge for you, not really knowing what Liverpool side you're going to see?
No, not at all, because the obvious is you're going to face world-class quality and international quality, regardless who's in the lineup. So it's not about actually the names and the potential lineup. This is picked with quality from the GK until the number 9, and that's okay. That's the game we also deserve. That's the game we also earned, and that's the game we also want then really to enjoy. But being brave, trying also to make it as difficult as possible for Liverpool. We will not go outside and surrender from minute 1. We will go outside from the first whistle and say, okay, this is Liverpool. This is potentially the biggest club in the world right now, but we are here to challenge them, and we will try.
I know you might well say that there is a different level between a Sunderland, a West Brom and a Liverpool, but the fact that the last 2 games have been good performances, good results, 4 points from 2 games, it's nice to have that bit of momentum going into Sunday, isn't it? From not just the results, but knowing that the team is starting to perform the way you want them to.
No doubt, it was a confidence boost. Sunderland, it was a huge confidence boost. West Brom, we just felt how it is to win a game after a long time, and I've realized also the first time the power of the home park and also the relief of the fans. Finally we did it. Finally we rewarded ourselves with 3 points, and finally we rewarded the Green Army. They suffered also a lot, so the joy was visible. You can hear it, you can feel it, And on those moments, we have to build on and to carry on, not only against Liverpool, especially what happened afterwards, because the challenging days are also after Liverpool. And I will put the priority also to make us as competitive as possible, so in the end we can also achieve the big goal we have to stay up.
Well, as for Arne Slot, as expected, he's changed up his side a bit with an important Merseyside derby coming up later in the week. He spoke to the press on Friday about how he still feels confident despite the changes he's had to make.
Except for Trent Alexander-Arnold and Tyler Morton, how happy are you to have a fully fit squad, or nearly fully fit squad at this stage of the season?
Yeah, you can answer that question yourself, I think as well. It's something you want. If you have to play so many games and the importance of the games only are growing and growing and growing, you want to have as most players available as you can. And I have to give big compliments not only to the performance staff but also to the players, because they put a lot of effort in to stay as fit as they are. It's not only what they do on the training ground or what they do during the game. If you look at them, how professional they are around the training session before and after, then it's not a surprise to me that they stay as fit as they are at the moment.
How key is rotation again this weekend, and what kind of a balancing act do you have? Because there's a number of players that I'd imagine you want to give game time because you want to get their match sharpness up, but at the same time, if you have too many players in there who aren't fully sharp, it can make these ties that bit trickier for you.
Yeah, I think it's always a tricky tie, no matter what team you play, because it's an away game. It's their final probably, as many times as Liverpool comes anywhere. So, but it is true that if you play with a team that hasn't played so much together, that is always for the players a bit more difficult. But I think we've seen already a few times when we played with a team that hasn't played much together, even in Eindhoven in the Champions League game, these players were able to play a very good game. And so I think it's important these moments for some players that don't get many playing time to have that playing time, so whenever we need them they are ready. If you never play them, then it's so difficult for them to be ready if we do get some injuries or suspensions. So yeah, we will definitely use a few players that haven't played that much, but we will make that final call tomorrow.
I mean, it's one of those interesting situations, I feel, where Liverpool are almost victims of their own success in the fact that they are in so many different runs in different games because they're doing so well that it almost disadvantages them sometimes. Do you think Liverpool are going to be seeing today's game as a little bit of an inconvenience, Katie?
No, because the FA Cup's a big competition and you don't want to get knocked out in the fourth round when you're one of the top sides in the Premier League. So I think it happened a couple of years ago under Klopp where they played every single game they could possibly play in the season because they got to the final of every competition. So you know, hopefully as a Liverpool fan it'll be the same again this year. But you know, there's a job to be done for them today, and I'm sure they'll come down, be professional, and try and get that done.
Yeah, I mean, you were saying earlier, Ian, yes, there are some names that we'll have a look at again in a minute that maybe people won't be super familiar with, but it's nice that Liverpool have got such a depth in their squad that they can tailor it around where they see the challenges.
Yeah, it is. They obviously, you know, feel that those changes are warranted. I do think there's an opportunity for Argyle, though. You know, as good as these players are, they won't be as familiar with each other. They haven't played as many games together, you know, as their strongest 11, if you like. And so I do think that represents an opportunity for Argyle. You know, if they can stay in the game, get an early opportunity, and maybe just cause a little bit of a surprise, you know, in that first half, there's everything to play for.
Yeah, and Katie, you know, seeing Liverpool under Klopp, and of course, you know, they came down here as part of another cup run with him. You were close to, you know, getting things in previous years, and it seems like Slot has slotted right in, and he could do it for you guys this year. I mean, how impressed have you been with him taking over as manager?
Yeah, I think off the back of a very successful manager, it comes obviously with its own pressures. Maybe a little bit of an unknown, Arne Slot, when he came in. I don't think many people thought that he would be the next Liverpool manager. So it's impressive what he's done. The fact that they're still in all 4 competitions this season is great as a Liverpool fan. And you know, you've got to take your hat off to him. And you know, we've spoken about the rotation and the management of the squad and other teams who've potentially picked up injuries, and Liverpool have been relatively I guess, lucky with that. But does that come down to, again, the management of the players? So, I mean, you've got to look at the whole situation and say, you know, he's done a fantastic job since he's come in and taken over.
Yeah, well, could Argyle be the team that sees him come unstuck? We'll have to wait and see. Let's have a reminder of the squads for this afternoon, starting with Argyle: Connor Hazard, Maxim Talavierov, Nikola Katic, Julio Plegathuelo, Matti Sorinoda, Adam Randall with the captain's armband, Darko JB, Timoteus Puhac, Ryan Hardy, Callum Wright and Mustafa Bundu. And on the bench, we have Grimshaw, Mumba, Houghton, Obafemi, and the others that I'm sure you're very familiar seeing. Boateng, of course, a new name in there as well, along with Tajani, Al-Haj, Beidou and Paulson. Taking on none other than Liverpool, the competition today. A few changes for them. Kelleher, Gomez, Endo, Kwanzaa, Tsimikas, McConnell, Nioni, Chiesa, Elliott, Diaz and Jota. And on their bench, Jaros, Nunes, Jones, Kone Doherty, Mabea, Nallo, Nkoa, Norris and Young. We've spoken, it's a lot of young players. Like you said, this is an opportunity for them to kind of get out and showcase their stuff to their manager, because, you know, when you have a team of such quality as Liverpool do at the minute, it's going to be quite hard to break out and show yourself.
Yeah, and I think as a youngster, you relish these moments where you do get the chance to be in and amongst the first team and, you know, playing with some absolute quality players. You know, there are lots of big names missing in their starting 11, but it's a squad that's full of talent, and yeah, these youngsters today, like I say, will relish that chance to be in and amongst it in front of a raucous, noisy crowd here at Home Park, and you know, hopefully that unsettles them a little bit and allows Argyle to get a foothold in the game.
Yeah, it certainly is getting louder and louder at Home Park this afternoon. Ian, do you think these changes will give Argyle a bit of a boost, whereby it may look slightly more achievable for them to actually pull something out of the bag here?
Yeah, I think there's two ways of looking at it. You may be slightly disappointed that you've drawn a big name and maybe are not then able to test yourself against their, what you might call their first choice players, but equally, you know, for Argyle it's a bigger chance to go through. Yes, there's still clearly some talent in that Liverpool starting 11, but there is perhaps that inkling of an opportunity that Argyle will sense. And I'm sure, as we've seen from the new head coach, he'll be sending them out there to play at an intensity and at a tempo. And as Katie's already said, Liverpool are going to need to be at it in order to cope with that. So yeah, fingers crossed we can give them some problems.
Yeah, I mean, you know, regardless of the tweaks that they've made to their lineup, taking on Liverpool is taking on Liverpool. All of the Argyle players that come out and get a chance on the pitch today will be able to say they have that under their belt.
Definitely, yeah. We talk about the changes, but we still highlighted, you know, there's several established international players in Liverpool's side there. So it's by no means, maybe it's weaker, but it's by no means a weak team from Liverpool. So
yeah. Final thought, Katie, how are you feeling?
I'm excited. I think it'll be, you know, great occasion, hopefully a good game. I'm hoping that Argyle can come out and compete like we have done in the last few games and, you know, stay compact, make it difficult for Liverpool. Yeah. But let's hope for a great game.
Well, thank you very much both. I think the teams are ready to come out, so just a reminder that you can listen to this game on Argyle TV, and it will be Charlie Price and Aaron Kuzat bringing you the commentary today. It's the FA Cup, it's Premier League opposition. Could it happen again? Let's find out. Over to Charlie and Aaron.
Well, will it happen again? For the first time in 41 years, Argyle were able to beat Premier League opposition. That was in the last round against Brentford. Today, it is the creme de la creme. The 8 times winners, the 19 times English champions, and on 6 occasions have been the kings of Europe. Liverpool, back at Home Park, 8 years on, from a 2-legged tie where they were pushed all the way by Argyle, who were then a League Two side. Today in the Championship, with a packed out Home Park, TV cameras, the sun shining down. Yes, there are important league games to come for both, but for now, the focus is on the FA Cup. one of the giants of world football in town, cruising at the top of the Premier League, only beaten 3 times this season. But it is Argyle who are backed to the hilt by crazy green Janners that will be smelling an upset. New surroundings for Arne Slot, familiar for Miron Muslic. We have a huge game on our hands here this afternoon. Changes are plenty for Liverpool, but not so for Plymouth Argyle. Just a couple, in fact, made from the win last weekend. Brian Hardy, who scored 2 that day, comes in. He replaces Michael Beidou, and there's a change in central midfield with Darko Javy coming in for Jordan Houghton. Callum Wright, a huge Liverpool fan, gets his fairy tale start this afternoon. Now, Liverpool, maybe slightly more complicated. They've made 10 changes from the side that beat Tottenham on Thursday night. The only player to survive is the goalkeeper, Queven Kelleher. Joe Gomez comes back in to captain the side at right back. Diogo Jota back after 5 matches out leads the line. There's a start for Federico Chiesa, and the 2-man central midfield of the teenagers, McConnell and Leone, getting a chance after high praise from their manager, Arne Slot. These 8 games don't come around too often, and as mentioned, there are bigger fish to fry for both sides. Liverpool, of course, will be wanting to win the Premier